Oh my gosh. After 3 months of voice acting videos and random vlogs and random other nonsense of me doing beatboxing, I finally got round to doing another one of my Jowie characters. Huzzah! I am happy. And yes, we're doing about Sammy Wolf, and I'm going to be starting with her origins now because if you look at the design, it's pretty obvious what she's based off, but let's start it anyway. The creation of this wonderful character began in the early days of the summer of 2007 when Jowie had nothing to do apart from DA for company. Ever since he had joined A, he had been interested in stuff from Cartoon Network like Billy and Mandy, Cow and Chicken, Mario, Zelda, blah 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 blah. And one time, he went onto this one image of what looked like a chipmunk princess. He clicked on it, and it belonged to Clyde the Cartooner. He thought, wow, this guy looks pretty decent. I'll have a look at his work. After about 2 hours later, gotta keep looking, gotta find more pictures, gotta find her butt, gotta find more Sally Acorn. And yes, this is what happened. He got addicted, and before he knew it, he was constantly over the whole summer trying to draw this one stupid Sonic character. And then he got hooked onto Archie Comics, Saturday AM, and all other Sonic related and Sally Acorn stuff. He became a fan brat, he became a fanboy. Fanboy rage! Yes, that essentially is the origins. Now let's move on to a bit more about her personality and whatnot. To be honest, in the early development stages of Sammy, she was just kind of a mindless, character I used to draw in all my Jowie pictures. She would just occasionally pop up acting all sexy. I don't know, it was just something about having an anthropomorphic purple, wolf babe, as it were, that, just kind of had something magical about it. And I just kind of I'd always had liked a relationship of animals and humans meeting, so I guess that's partly why I did it. But it was also for the obsession I had with Sally Acorn at the time. I was still constantly trying to make Sammy a lot like Sally Acorn. At one point, she had clothes like Sally, and even she would have a little computer like Sally Acorn has with Nicole. So, at one point, it looked like I was just going to create an OCE or a friend for Sally Acorn, but I wanted to do a lot more with her, and, that's the next part I'm going to get onto now. In terms of her personality, Sammy is a mixture of a rot chick, a smarty pants kind of schoolgirl, but she's also a clumsy oaf, and she's also a quite naive as she comes from a very rich background. But in terms of her animal, and this is kind of what all kind of animal characters suffer from, is that as she's a wolf, she can get quite aggressive and she can let that take over her mind, and she could become sometimes much a killer or something like that. So, that's essentially is the personality of Sammy. She's kind of a bit like Sally in a lot of ways, just in terms of personality. But in the tone of her kind of fitting in the Jowie universe, she needs to be a lot more clumsy. So she needs to kind of have a bit more of a bit more of a kind of goofy outlook to her. And, that still has been developed today, but that's started to show if you look at the recent pictures I've been doing of her. Now I'm going to talk about the backstory and the character art behind Sammy Wolf. And this is a very recent one, so it might be a bit all over the place, so bear with me. Sammy's parents came from a long-lost tribe of rare purple wolves that were the only ones left in existence thanks to the actions of humans. Throughout her whole early childhood, Sammy enjoyed the pleasures of exploring the forest with her Uncle Norris, who was not only a brave warrior in his younger days, and one of the most bravest in the tribe, he was also her mentor, but also a very loving friend. He would be there for Sammy whatever the cost was, and he was there to defend her. But he also told her about his great stories and adventures, and Norris was like a father to her at some point. Things took an unexpected turn for the tribe when Sammy's parents befriended Jowie's parents, and before you know it, they became close friends with the pack. Jowie's parents would go to every celebration for Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving, all that. They were there for the tribe whenever and whatever circumstances, and Jowie and Max Bean would come along with them too. Sammy befriended Jowie through a very awkward intro one day, and before you know it, the kids were playing and having a lot of fun. Norris being kind of a bit of an anti-socialist in the fact that he wasn't that keen on humans because he had seen the actions that they'd achieved. But over time, he grew to accept, Jowie's presence there in his tribe. He accepted him as one of the pack. And before you know it, Norris was playing with the kids and telling, Jowie about the great adventures just like he did with Sammy. And before you know it, it seemed that everything was rosy and that nothing could go wrong. But something did go wrong. Very wrong. One fateful night, when the tribe were not on patrol and it seemed everything was quiet, a huge bulldozing machine was deforesting the forest as they slept. It appeared that the city council of Joey had made a decision to knock down half the forest where Sammy's village was, in order to make way for more human accommodation. Of course, Norris tried to take an assault on the machine, but he failed miserably, and half the tribe got killed in the instant. Jowie's parents and Jowie themselves arrived just to try and help the tribe, but Norris got really aggressive and his hatred for humans came back, and he became violent and threw the family out and told them to never come anywhere near his family or any of his tribe ever again. He didn't want Sammy or Jowie near each other anymore. The harsh words that Norris spoke came true. Sammy never saw Joey for a very long time. For her whole childhood and young teen years, she never saw his face or Max's face ever again, and she completely forgot about the adventures and even the tribe. But due to some odd circumstances, moving into Joey's neighborhood into a gothic manor house not very far from his home, and Joey trying to sneak in to take a look at the new neighbors, Sammy reunited with her friends. It took her a bit of a while to get used to how Joey had kind of become a bit of a lunatic and a bit of a bachelor, but over time Sammy fitted into the neighborhood and she was soon accepted. The only real thing that Sammy had to worry about now was the voice of Norris in her head. As she'd hang out with Norris a lot, his mentoring had kind of rubbed off of her sometimes. Sometimes she could just imagine Norris standing by her saying, "Get rid of all traces of human life, I want them out of the way for good." But Sammy always had the courage to stand away from her uncle's harsh words. She just kind of wished that she and her species could get on with Jowie's, but alas, it was never meant to be. But either way, Sammy is now living life to the full, having lots of fun adventures, and to this day, she's a very loyal friend, but she's still a bit naive. I pray from watching this video you realise that I haven't just done another OC kind of original Sonic character, as it were. I've tried to create something that's a bit more unique, needs a bit more work, but I hope you enjoyed the intro to Sammy. Next time, folks, if I get lucky and if I'm in the mood, I'll be talking about Jowie's pet, Line. That's it, Line. He's just a cartoon black line, and there'll be a lot more to talk about him. But thank you for your time, folks, and I hope you enjoyed it. This is Jowie, signing off. Later, dudes and dudettes.